Milk.
What is it?
Oh, I was just checking to see what our time sequence is for ritual.
I would like to introduce Denny Sargent, who is the author of Werewolf Magic and Werewolf Pack Magic, and he will be leading our main ritual tonight. And then after that, we'll be having a little bit of a discussion and reactions to the ritual. So I will leave it to you.
Now, a couple of caveats. One, standing up and doing it physically. When I stand up, I'm gonna show a couple things first. It's really better that you're actually moving and doing stuff. But if you don't want to, you can simply visualize the whole thing and at least get that side of it. It's a pretty physical thing. Two, if you want to mute yourself when you're standing and howling and growling and everything, that's fine. But I like it. I want you to leave it open. Nothing is more fun than 20 people all howling together. It's a fun. That's the third thing I want to mention. I have my dog. My dog's a member. No, no. My dog is a member.
Arroo.
No. No.
Leader of
All
the.
right. I'm sorry, but that's a good moment there just to point out that my dog may get loud, and he's a member of my pack, so that may happen. So, excuse me. So, all right. So, my name is Denny Sargent. You can find me at werewolfmagic.com. I have my books here. I'll just show you very quickly since I've got them right here. Everything. If you were part of the first thing I did, this is Werewolf Magic. This was the first one. This is the pack magic. We're really focusing more on pack magic because you're a pack tonight, whether you like it or not. So I highly recommend that you look at my books. If anybody is interested and wants to communicate with me, they can. You can go to werewolfmagic.com and find contact. And there's my email, and I'm open to anybody who would like to do it. Yes, you're my technopack. That's what you are. Okay, gay technopack. That's good. So let me show you a couple of things and talk about what I'm going to do just to give you a framework. There is a ritual that I've been perfecting for 6 years now called the praxis. It's a very simple shape-shifting formula. It can be as long or as short as you want it to be. When I'm doing this with my pack, sometimes it takes us a good hour or so or more to get into a deep trance state, which is the goal for the whole thing. I have created this, or no, I didn't really create it. The werewolf spirit actually guided me, pushed me, told me when I was right, when I was wrong. I was more like, he mentored me. I was more like the scribe who wrote stuff down and tried different things and added some things. So this ritual is called the praxis ritual. It is the basic shape-shifting ritual, and it can be as light as you want it to be, or it can be stunningly extreme depending on what you want to do. With my pack, it would depend on what we were planning to do. Sometimes we did other things. Other things have been added to the ritual. For example, I'm going to show you what you see behind me is a shamanic drum, and where is it? Over here, and that I'm going to add to, and you're going to see I use it for some things. I'm going to try to show you a lot of techniques that I use when we're doing the full-on werewolf magic thing. But when we do it from beginning to end as a group, it usually is about 3 to 4 hours, and we go into a deep trance. And sometimes once we're in that werewolf trance, we really don't want to do anything. Faunus, I'm serious. I will eat you. And so when we go into that deep trance state, sometimes it shuts down our upper cortex. We're just in an animal state, and that's the point. And when we're in that animal state, we often just sort of, we chase the dog, we lay on the ground, we howl, we're not thinking anymore. So let me walk you through a couple of important things. One, the point of doing this is to shut down our upper cortex, to shut down our brain. Right now, I'm talking to you, I'm processing all these things while I have 100 other things going on in my brain. What I'm going to do tomorrow, what I'm going to eat for dinner. We all do this. We all my dog is just going to be a pain. Come here. No squeaky toys. Oh my God. All right. So once we shut this down, once we stop, I'm just going to take it away just a minute. No, you cannot do this. I'm teaching. Oh my God. Why did you didn't do this before? All right, stop. Sorry. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing, but this is feral magic in its prime. So once I shut down my brain, once you shut down your brain, and that's what we're going to do for the first part, we're going to be rocking and swaying, and I'm just going to guide you. We're going to practice it first, and then we're going to go through it. And the goal is to shut down your brain and let your consciousness, and this is the visualization, sink down into sort of the group unconscious mind. I think of it as going deep into a well, into darkness, into a cave. And there in the cave is your animal self. And everything that I do is wrapped around this concept of the animal self. So the point being, we are animals, all right? Now, everything in our culture from when we were born until today has been about, you are not an animal. You know, God gave us dominion over the, according to Judeo-Christianity, God gave us dominion over the earth and all the animals on it and everything like that. And therefore, our whole culture from beginning to end has imprinted upon us that we are not animals, that we are superior to animals, that animals do not have souls, that they do not have spirits, that they're just like rocks and things that you can cut and slaughter and destroy, and it doesn't matter, right? This is what we've been taught for hundreds and hundreds of years. The key is we are animals, and there's no doubt we're animals. We're actually under the phylum of gorillas in biology. So we are animals. So shutting down this, bringing it down, and then finding that animal self within you as a visual and bringing it up is the most powerful thing that we can do. So that's, you're going to see those are, so I'm not going to cue any of those things, but I want you to be aware of that. The third thing about shapeshifting is the dantian. The dantian is down here. It's at the base of your gut. Those of you who do Tai Chi or anything like that know what the dantian is. In Tantra, in Hinduism, it's the fire center, right? And what I found out when I was trying to put this together, I found out and got a very clear message about it, that by focusing, once we're entering that trance state, once we do the rocking, all this stuff, right? Then we visualize the energy center expanding and filling our whole body. So we all have auras. It's not just new age stuff. We all have literally an electromagnetic field around us. So by building up that fire energy and filling our entire body and extending around our body, we can actually create any form we want to create. In this sense, we are creating the form of a werewolf. So, and just let it come up the way it comes up, and visualize yourself as the way what comes naturally. As you connect all these things, as you bring up your animal self, you shut down your ego. Denny Sargent disappears, and then this beast comes up, right? You visualize all of this, and we're doing all these other things. Then you see the energy form around you as closer and closer as a werewolf. You're still there as a person, but start to see yourself as it. So these things all happen. Now, on top of that, that's why I want to go over it before I do it. On top of it, we pull energy. We pull energy from the inside, which is what I've just talked about, right? Of what we have in our body, our unconscious mind, the Jungian, group unconscious mind, and then we unleash this, and we move from here down to the base here, which is our primordial brain. like I said before, it's what Carl Sagan calls the dragon brain. It's a smaller brain that existed as we evolved. Our brain just simply wrapped around that primordial brain. That is also where we have things like automatic systems or autonomic systems, like when we're doing something but we're not really thinking about what we're doing, right? So all of these things, again, they're all in my book, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I want you to be aware of the things I want you to be visualizing while this goes on. So we're going to be doing a couple of different things, but we are also going to be pulling in energy from outside. Now, normally you can see the window behind me. I'm dyslexic, obviously. In the window behind me, you're going to see that's where I have woods in my backyard, which is nice. And that tree, that big tree you see behind me, that is where the werewolf altar is. And that's where I do all my stuff. And that's where our group does all that stuff at night under a full moon. Now, tonight, or technically tomorrow, we have not just an eclipse, but we have a dark moon. And so that is actually a really potent time to do werewolf magic. And I have a whole ritual in my book about it, because it's a good time for purification and getting rid of stuff. We're not going to do that ritual. We're just going to shapeshift. But you might want to keep in mind this is a really good time, because the lunar energy is incredibly potent on all humans, but it's really, really potent in the werewolf magic stuff. So that's something. All right, I'm going to just put him in the other room. If you don't stop, I'm going to put you in the other room. Get up there and stop. I mean it. I'm teaching right now. Oh my God. This always happens when I do werewolf magic stuff. The animals go crazy. So I mean it. No. Go. I will put it one more time and I'm going to put him away, but we're going to have to listen to him. So we have different deities we use. If you're into witchcraft or you're into paganism, none of this will be too crazy for you. All right? You'll understand it. So we start with the Earth Mother, and we use Ma as the vibration for the Earth Mother. But it sounds like this. Ma. Ma. Okay? And we do it for a while. And as we're doing it, we're sinking ourselves down into the earth, and we're connecting with Gaia. And as you do it, and especially the more feral you are, you're going to feel the energy come up into you, because Gaia loves us werewolves, and all of a sudden unleashes a lot of energy. Sometimes almost all of us see two eyes when we're really deep into it, of the mother coming up. So Ma, Ma, Ma. As I do the ritual, you're just simply going to follow me. And then I'm going to do Ma, Ma, right? I'm going to invoke the Earth Mother. Then I'm going to slowly change it to Ma, Ba, Ah, Ha. And I'm going to reach out. And I'm going to invoke the Lord of the Forest. You can visualize the Lord of the Forest any way you like. You can visualize him with horns, or the green man, whatever. But he's the primordial god of Gaia is here, down below us, Earth, right? Everything on the planet is Gaia. But all the things that live upon the earth are the Lord of the Forest. And so that's Ha, right? Ha, Ha. And as you're vibrating, you're feeling all the energy from all the greenery anywhere around you coming into you. All things, all the living things coming into you. And you're pulling that energy in. Because you are an animal, therefore you have a direct connection. Once we go into that state of consciousness, you have that direct connection with Gaia, with the world, with nature. Because your ego-centered brain is shutting down, and that's what makes you think you do not have connection with nature. And now you have direct connection. You know, a wolf pulling in the energy, right? So it's Ha, Ha. Then we're gonna move up to the moon, because the moon mother, and we use 3 different forms in werewolf magic. So like the new moon is Hecate, is Hecate, which is pretty much what we're calling in today. And then the full moon is Selene, and then the crescent moon is Artemis. So these are all things that came to me as I was working through this. You can visualize them or see them any way you like. But tonight it's going to be the dark moon. We're going to do, and that's right? So it's ma, and then we come together and we pull in the wolf spirit as we go deeper and deeper into our trance. We actually bring in the wolf spirit, and that's what you see behind you there. So you're going to bring in, you're going to invoke the wolf spirit, and you're going to let the wolf spirit fill you, so that and that's going to like pull it all together. And the wolf spirit is, and then once we do that, you just follow me. Once we do that, then it's going to be, and then we come together in one big howl, and we can keep it going as long as people want. And then we're going to be in a more of a trance. Then we're going to go into a deeper trance state with more rocking, more swaying, and whatnot. Before any of this happens, we're going to banish. And banishing is very simple. It's just simple. This is the vibration that we use for getting rid of stuff. Essentially what we're doing is witchcraft, but with no speaking. And what we're going to be doing is to banish, we're going to claw up, and we're going to go, we're going to growl. So there's so much more to go into, but I'm going to try going very quickly here. There's two types of howling. There's two types of growling. There's two types of everything. So howling is like this. Oh, that's an up howl, right? But also wolves go, oh, and bring it down. That's how we bring energy up and down in our circle. Same with growling. If this makes sense. If you think of it as a witchcraft circle with no talking, just you're close to how this works. But with, we do the gods and goddesses, but then we bring the wolf in to like give us that shift, So when we banish, we're going to be going 9 times around the circle. If you're going to stand up and do it, then do it. If you're going to sit there and close your eyes, that's fine. Visualize you're doing it. And what you're doing is you're getting rid of any energies, any spirits, anything that does not belong here. And it has been the most potent banishing I've ever done. I do all kinds of banishing, but all I have to do is like 9 times around, and everything leaves. They don't want anything to do with it. So we're going to go through those steps, and just watch as I do it. We're going to start with rocking and swaying. We're going to start going to a light trance state. Then we're going to banish, and I'll just cue you. I'm not gonna talk anymore once I start. So, and I'm just gonna go, and that means I'm gonna start doing that, right? Then we're gonna call on the different entity forms that can fill us, and we're gonna come together with rah, and then howling, and then we're gonna continue rocking and swaying. So, 2 different methodologies. This is swaying, right? And then this is rocking. So different techniques. I'm covering a lot fast here, but that's how it is. A lot of what we're going to be doing with these things is called rumbling. Now, I've spent the last 6 years opening up my chest and my voice box. So rumbling sounds like this. Now, you don't have to do it so long, but once we start swaying, that's what it's going to be mostly. I'm sort of cutting it down a little bit for tonight. So I don't know. Are we good? If anybody has a question, they can let me know, or just follow me. Just follow me. The main thing I want you to do is relax and loosen up. I mean, I have arthritis, and that's what I need to do. Get ready, and to be thinking about your animal self and owning it, that you're an animal, and that's what you're coming into terms with. That makes sense. Okay. If I have time at the end, I'll show you what my werewolf altar looks like and stuff like that. But let's see how we go. All right? Ta-da! Great Wolf Spirit. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To the great moon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To the Lord of the Forest. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To you, from you, all things. Oh, wow. A little bit early, maybe. Does anybody have any questions?
I can see how that can keep you warm when it's cold.
It keeps it. If that's why I take my shirt off, because I immediately, when I start into it, I get very, very, very hot. That's when I bring up all the energy from my Muldhara, I get extremely hot. And normally I do this outside with no clothes on, winter or summer, it doesn't matter. At the beginning, I'm very cold, and then about 20 minutes in, I'm really hot, and I'll sweat through everything if I don't do that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of very, very warm. I mean, this is a little cooler than my ass. My ass is on fire right now, but that's kind of where it starts, right? Like in that, well, close to that area. I'm sitting down in my chair,
right,
so of course.
Right down here. Yeah. Right down here. Down here. Right below your gut. That's the
really right below the belly button. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, it would make your ass hot.
Because I mean, especially if you're sitting down. Like if it's all just like, if you're standing up, it flows a little bit easier, I'm sure, and your whole from head to toe is gonna be on fire, basically.
I'm working very hard. I for example, I have arthritis in here. I have pain. Once I start this, I don't even notice it. I run around jumping, and then when I'm done, I'm like, oh, my knee hurts, my foot hurts. I mean, I did this with younger people at Starwood, and they were running around on all fours when they went under. I mean, I've never seen anybody run around on all fours. I didn't even know you could. But I don't. I'm an old wolf. I'm not. I can't do that. But yeah, they wouldn't come out. They wouldn't come out of the. It was a longer, deeper. It took an hour and a half or more to get us all going. But there were also 200 people there, so. But they didn't want it. They wouldn't come out. I had to force them. I had to be like alpha and say, no, you cannot stay in this consciousness and run amok in the event. But yeah, it's very, very healthy. I swear it is. I've lost a ton of weight. I mean, aside from just out of luck, but I look younger. I feel younger. I always feel better after I do it. So, and tonight's the new moon, which is, and or tomorrow. I was going to put that up as a screen share, but I decided it probably wasn't the great idea. I decided not to. I don't know why. I think I just wanted to. I got into the mode and I didn't care about the screen share, but I'll show you what it was because it's kind of cool. And I'll show you a couple more things since I've got a couple more minutes. Does anybody else have any questions about anything? Or reactions or thoughts?
It's not really a question, just a comment. I was noticing for me, the tendency to want to be actually up on tiptoe as opposed to flat foot.
That makes sense. I do the same thing. It's because if you really have managed to pull your animal self up, and then you're going to want to go up on. I mean, think about how wolves are created. I mean, think about that they walk on the pads of their front feet. We walk on flat feet now. Wolves walk like this. If you look at pictures of them, so that primal part of you, and probably early Homo sapiens did the same thing. Had a spur, if that makes sense. So walking like this instead of like this. So it means your primal being is trying to. your animal self, your physical animal, and your deep animal self is trying to sort of take you back, 5,000 years into a different state of being. I think that's just my thought. But yeah, it makes sense. It's very hard for. I mean, a bunch of you probably sat and listened to this and maybe watched it, and that's good. But I highly, highly, highly recommend that you actually get up and do it, because the activity triggers everything, and it's fun. It's fun. Give it a try. I don't know. Anybody else have any other questions? You like to walk on your toes? Good for you. Anybody else? No? Nothing? Well, I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, this reminds me of my favorite times in community dancing around a fire, and that group or pack mentality builds the energy together. A little harder to do via Zoom.
It is. This is the second time I've done it in Zoom.
Yeah.
I was hoping I could get everybody to stand up and do it, but it's really, in Zoom, it's really hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, when I did this, I've done this in person a few times.
Oh, sure.
At PantheaCon, we did it in a big stone circle,
Mm-hmm.
and it was night, and the full moon was up, and
Perfect.
Oh, it was really funny because the sky was cloudy, and we were all like, "Come on, where's the full moon?"
Right.
And it was starting to rain, and they were like, "Well, maybe we'll cancel it." I was like, "Who wants to cancel?" And everybody's like, "No, screw it, let's just do it."
Yep.
And it went for quite a long time, and when we got to that like howling part where we're all in state, we went, "Oh!" like the 200 people, and the clouds parted, and the moon shut down, and we went completely insane. It was really funny. And then they wanted to run around. I said, no, stay in the circle. Don't bother.
Right. Yeah, don't dissipate the energy. Yeah.
Well, also, don't scare people. I mean,
Right.
Because we're at PantheaCon.
I get. I don't know. Anybody else have any questions or thoughts at all? I don't mind chatting.
What do you normally do in a group afterwards to ground yourselves? Like, do you have a barbecue? Do you do a puppy pile? I mean, like.
No, we don't do that. I mean, we do a group hug. We do a huge group hug. And we towards the last few times, we really got into the drum, and we started doing this thing that was one of the most potent things I think I've ever done. Was we'd howl into it. You probably heard the difference, right? This is like, oh, and then listen, oh. It's very, very different. I don't know if you can hear through Zoom, but we'd all howl together through the drum, and it was astounding. And even we tried it without the drum, and it was astounding. But we'd all, okay. So let's try something, just so you can see. Are you guys all? You're not muted, right? Can everybody unmute for a second? And you don't have to if you don't want to, but I want everybody to just howl. All right. So let's try just a quick howl. Oh, come on, everybody. Oh. Do just like that, and I want you to try to get my tone. Here's my tone. Oh, I want you to try to match that tone. And let's, I don't know if we can do it on Zoom, but it's amazing what happens when everybody syncs up to the same tone. So let's just try it, just for fun. Okay. Oh. We're getting a little bit of it. When you're all together, you're resonating.
Oh yeah.
All of a sudden, there's this moment where it goes whoosh, and it opens up this intense gateway, and I cannot explain it. and we all have this moment of seeing each other's werewolf forms. I know this sounds completely nuts, but vibrate. It's like two. I don't know if you've ever seen this thing where if you have a tuning fork and you hit it and you put it next to another tuning fork, the other tuning fork will vibrate to the same tuning to the other tuning fork. Do you know about this? It's resonance. It's basic resonance. Like if you hit it, if you have a tuning fork that you're not touching, and when you hit, you put it next to it, the other one will start vibrating the same thing. And people do that. That's magic too, right? People vibrate. If someone's angry and sits next to someone who's not angry, pretty soon they might feel angry. You know, there's that resonance, resonance happens. But you do this with the howl, and everybody hits it, and all of a sudden it does this amazing, it brings everybody together in this sort of psychic moment, and it opens up this incredible field. It's kind of awesome. We just discovered it. We were like, oh wow. Then we tried it with the drum, and it was like incredible. Yes, sympathetic vibration. Thank you, David. That's right. So yeah. Anyway, that's kind of fun. Anybody else have any questions or thoughts? No, I can show you a couple of things. That might be fun. I'll show you just a few things. We've got a couple of minutes, I guess. But oh no, we have extra time. We can do what we want. But anybody have any questions? I don't want to keep yakking unless people want to chat about something.
Too bad we don't have recordings from the days of yore.
What days? What do you mean? The days of yore? You mean like long ago?
Yes, your history walk. Yes.
Watch the Northman.
Okay.
It's as close as you're gonna get.
All right.
I don't think they actually did the rocking, but they did some of that. No, yeah, I'm just going by my own personal, relationship. Werewolf Magic was really about me and about me trying to figure out this stuff for myself, thinking I was just a fucking crazy person. But Pack Magic came after I got a group, when I realized, oh, this works for a lot of people. It's not just me. It's not just my mental, issue. I tell you though, when I'm driving, somebody today almost rammed into me, and I just look up like my wolf popped right up. I looked in the rearview mirror and I just went, "Argh!" And he moved back like 3 blocks. And I was like, oh wow, it works in a car. That's kind of cool. I got to remember that.
Oh,
I know. What can I say? I scare people sometimes. My neighbors. Oh, excuse me. That was the wrong thing to do. What am I doing? Start video. I want to start video. I can't. Why is it not doing it? Oh, there we go. All right. What I want to do is this. So, yeah, my neighbors haven't complained. I have a house right here. I have a house here. I have a house here. And I used to live in an apartment right near like 70 acres. And I moved in here, and I had my own woods. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And if they call the cops, they call the cops. Nope. In fact, I had a guy walk by. I was gardening, and he looks at me. He goes, hey, and I'm waiting for it, right? I'm like, uh-oh. And he goes, hey, guess what? I go, what? He goes, we have coyotes again. And I said, oh, there's no more coyotes. There were no coyotes here. He goes, no, but they must be coming up. And now we have coyotes, which is normal in Seattle, right? Coyotes. And I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. We tried for a while. And he goes, it's funny. They only show up on the full moon. And I suddenly realized, oh, I'm the coyote. I was like, score one for me, Anyway,
wow.
I know, it's not hilarious. I think it's hilarious, but then again, I'm easily amused. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. So this is my personal werewolf magic. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit in Zoom, but this is my altar for my werewolf magic juju.
Wow.
And you can see Hecate's down here too. It looks way better, but it just wouldn't fit. And then I can show you, let's see what else I can show you. Oh, this is the shrine. This is, and if you read Pack Magic, you'll see that the pack created a shrine, and so that's what this is. It's actually a coyote skull that was It was not killed. It was found in the desert of Wyoming. The bones were found there, and that's a moonstone crystal.
Mhm.
That's one of the sigils that we have in our stuff.
So Denny, you have a few questions. You want to hear a few?
Oh yes, I would. I'm sorry. I often don't, like, my brain shuts down a lot when I do this stuff, so I often don't think about questions. Yes. Could you just read them to me? Is that okay?
Sure. So Delon wants to know about shaping the fetch.
Oh God, I have, so both of my books have huge things.
Oh, he's read your books. He's read your books. Okay.
Oh, he has. Yeah.
Yes.
So you read about the fetch, what I wrote, right?
Oh, hold on, Delon. Why don't you go ahead and shape your question?
Yeah. That'd be good.
Well, because I've heard of different definitions of fetch, like mostly from fairy traditions, and I was wondering like how similar they are and where fetch came from for you.
Okay. My first question is which fairy tradition, because I know of at least 5. Is it how do they spell it? F-E-R-I, F-A-R-I-E? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's one of storm fairy wolves.
Okay, that's a different. Yeah, I'm good friends with a priestess who's in a different lineage. Okay, so that's good to know. I don't know. I know Storm, but I don't know how they view or.
I think Storm, like because they took us on a guided imagery thing to meet our fetch.
Oh, I see.
Like to interact with them a little bit.
Yeah.
So
that's doable. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so it was a cool exercise, and we also shaped the fetch a little bit.
Okay. So, but you read my books, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So you probably at this point know, but I'll just reiterate that the way I look at it is, because having done a lot of research on the witches during the Dark Ages, Middle Ages, in shamanism, and also I think in traditional witchcraft, it's more the spirits. It's about more animism than anything. The spirit or your fetch comes to you through spirits. So, for example, if you read my book, you know the fetch work I talk about is about using your wolf spirit, and identifying it as if you want to, you can focus it into a fetch, and work with it that way. And I have a whole thing about setting up a shrine for that fetch, but I'm very extremely focused, because this is what came to me. I'm extremely focused on the wolf spirit, because that's the spirit that literally came to me and saved my life. And it's now that I'm now that I'm communicating more with other people who are legitimate shamans, or I'm reading a couple books on shamanism now too. That in general, in shamanism, the spirits come to you, you don't go to them. And so most shamans are, by the time they're 3, 4, 5, they have spirits who are knocking on their door, and they tell their parents, and their parents are like, "Oh my God, you're going to be a shaman," and they're very upset, because none of the shamans that I met, they all thought it was really funny that Americans wanted to be shamans, because it's a miserable life for a lot of them. I mean, they spend a lot of time going into the underworld or going into trance. It takes them 3 days to recover. They go looking. They have to do far-seeing work to find the caribou so people have food, and it's a very hard life. And nobody wants to marry a shaman, they told me. So my view is a little bit different. That I to me, the spirit that came to me was the wolf. So that's I formulate the fetch from the wolf spirit, and and it's flexible. It's fine. It's fine with being a spirit. It's fine with being a fetch. And then I go through a whole thing in my books, which you have, about creating a place for that fetch. So you're basically creating. You're kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? You're kind of not cloning, but you're kind of manifesting the fetch from the werewolf spirit, from the wolf spirit. But like in Norse stuff, fetch stuff is very, very different. They use the word phlygia, and to them it's kind of like a guardian angel in a sense. So it's closer to what you went through of going out there and finding a fetch. So I mean, all of these things, there's no right or wrong. I mean, like all the different shamanic people I talk to have very different opinions about, what the upper world is and the lower world is, and they all disagree about things. So basically the fetch is some sort of entity, right? I mean, that you can work with. And I talk a lot in my books about if you're going to work with the wolf spirit as a fetch, you can wear it, you can use it for far seeing work, for going into trance state, or you can actually, manifest it. Anyway, I don't know. That's way more than probably you wanted to know. But
So Denny, there's a follow-up question,
Yes.
and then there's another question.
Sure.
When you say saved your life, shamans have told me this all the time, like something saved their life, or they, it's like I don't know what to call it. It's like it tells me they're a shaman, this is what saved my life, like something intervened.
Okay.
So can you comment? Okay.
Yeah, sure. I mean, okay, I'm weird. I've died twice.
Okay.
This was not something I planned to have a conversation about, but here we are.
So it's real.
I've had 2 tracheotomies, okay, which nobody knows anymore what they are because I'm old and they don't do it anymore. But I had croup, and none of you probably know what croup is, do you? None of you.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'm
you
old.
do. Somebody knows what croup is. All right.
Yeah, we're old. The old ones raise their hands. Yes.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Because croup doesn't exist anymore. I asked my doctor when I got a new doctor who's young, and he said, "What's that?" I said, "I had 2 tracheotomies." He's like, "Why?" And I said, "I had croup." And he goes, "Oh." And I looked at him. I go, "Wait, that's not an issue anymore." He goes, "No, we just have a shot." So anyway, I literally died. I won't go through the whole thing, but I had croup for a long time as a kid, and it was really terrifying. I had a oxygen tent and everything, and then I would be fine, and then it would just happen. I would just have these events, and one of them I just died. I literally flatlined, and that was one. And they brought me back. My heart stopped and my breathing stopped for 10 minutes, and they brought me back. So that was one. 2, I got hit by a truck. I got hit by a truck riding my bicycle across the street at a crosswalk. Not my fault. And when I got hit by the truck, I left my body and I watched myself get run over, and then I got back into my body. So that was the second time I almost died. And I've had a couple of more very, very close incidents. So I've had one more situation where I literally died and came back. What I was referring to though was I went through a really hideous time in my life, and it's not important to go into it, but I lost everything. I lost my house. I have a kid who's severely autistic, and my partner was fucked up, and I lost everything. And then I lost my job. I literally was suicidal. I was literally done. I'm like, I'm 60 and I'm done. I'm just done. I'm done with everything. And was contemplating, just leaving. I don't have an issue with it. And that's when the wolf spirit showed up in my meditation. And I cast this very, very tight circle. I'm a tantric, and I do a very, very good job. I've been a practicing tantric, and I do lots of weird things. For since 1980, and I was like, I put up this huge circle, and still this wolf spirit kept showing up, and I was like, you're not supposed to come through my circle, And it was I was calling it, Mm-hmm. My soul, my spirit, my Atman was reaching out and saying, look, this moron's going to kill himself, And I've always loved wolves. And I went back through a lot of my poetry and stuff, and it's like, wolves have always been speckled in there. I just never thought about it. So But now I'm writing new books. Most people are writing me now and saying, I love your books. It's fantastic, but that's not the animal that comes to me. And
Right.
that's when I realized, oh, wait, I'm so obsessed in my own little world with wolves, you know? And then so I have people like tigers and you know, and then I started looking at shapeshifting around the world. In China, it's often tigers, you know. In Japan, it's tanuki and it's cats and in Morocco, I traveled through Morocco, it's hyenas. So different people have been writing me and saying, well, my thing is this animal. And I'm like, go for it, you know? And so that's why I wrote this new book, Feral Magic. I came up with charts for a bunch of animals in terms of shape-shifting and whatnot. Anyway, it's pretty weird. I don't know. I'm a weirdo. But so it could be, I still follow the shamanic idea that the spirit comes to you.
Mhm.
But I think anybody can play with almost anything.
So Denny, that's a nice segue into the next question. Roman asks you, if you're a different animal, fox in parentheses, do you have an idea for growling, howling?
The first thing I would do, first of all, I'm really into foxes because I lived in Japan for 4 years. And
Right, kitsune, right?
Kitsune is everywhere. I have all kinds of kitsune stuff. So
Awesome.
And I actually have this wonderful book I highly recommend, but now I'm going sideways, so I won't. But it's called The Fox Spirit, I think. A friend of mine who lives in China, well, he's not a friend of mine, but he is now, who lives in China, sent me this book out of the blue. It's about the cult of the fox goddess, the fox spirit in China, which is really cool. I mean, I read through it, I went, whoa, this is like werewolf magic / fox magic, you know? So yes, I there's a lot out there on fox magic. And if you can find this book, I highly recommend it. I think it's just called Fox Magic. And if I could grab it right away, I would grab it for you. Oh wait, is that it? No. But I think it's just called Fox Magic. But yes, absolutely. If you're called, if the fox comes to you, that's what you should work with. And boy, there's a lot on fox magic out there. I mean, the shrines in Japan are potent places. Inari-sama is the goddess of the shrine, and she rides a fox, but she also is the fox, right? I mean, we can have a long conversation about fox spirits. Anybody?
Oh my, there's a lot of comment here. I don't know if you can see the comments.
No, I can't, and
okay. That's fine. That's fine.
My brain is in trance state, so go ahead and just tell me.
So have you? I just have to ask you: have you seen the movie Dreams, where they have the fox wedding?
Yes.
It's Japanese. It's Japanese.
Yes.
Okay.
It's cool. Totally cool.
It's the opening. It's the opening like segment. It's an interesting movie actually, but what do you think?
I love Japanese movies. What can I say? I lived there for 4 years. I'm a you know, what can I say? Nihongo wa subarashi desu. You know, I love Japan. In fact, I studied Shinto. So I think the idea of a fox wed, like that scene, right? That's so Japanese because they live in what they call the floating world, you know?
Right.
Like shape-shifting is a normal thing in Japan. I asked my students, how many of you believe in werewolves? Every student raised their hand up. I was like, really? You know? And then we ended up having a deep conversation. They're animists. They're all animists. I went to Kokagakuin University and studied Shinto. I got so excited. I wrote a book on it too, actually, just to show you. If you want to see some of this stuff, I don't know what I did with it here. That's I don't know. There. I don't know. Is it going to show through my thing? Anyway.
Yeah, hold it closer to you.
Hold it closer to me. Yeah, there it is.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was teaching at a university, but I also was a journalist, and I got deeply into Shinto, and it really helped me understand animism because there's all kinds of there's a lot of cultures like the tribal people in Thailand too. They, and now me too, I believe this, that the world is very flexible and reality is very flexible, and animal spirits can talk to you and you can work with them and you can shift into that headspace if that's really your will to do. So I don't know. I think that if the fox, whatever spirit is coming to you, if you can shut down your brain long enough to actually be open to the animistic spirits, then they'll come to you, and then you can decide, do I want to work with this or not? Because like I spent a lot of time working with nagas, with serpent spirits. It's a tantric thing, the nagas, and I loved working with them, and I wrote a whole book about it, and I had amazing moments with them. I did some psychedelics, and all of a sudden they were all surrounding me, and I got a lot, and I got to sketch them, and anyway, my world is weird, but
so Denny, we have a few questions, but the thing is, so Eldritch, you want to ask about a rhino spirit?
Oh, I was just making a comment that my spirit guide that came to me was a rhino, and I've only known one other person that has that, so it feels like a rarity.
I think it sounds great.
It totally parallels my life and my way of being. So
yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, let me see. I wish I could pull up some stuff from my new book. Has stuff in there that would make more sense to you. It's called. It's gonna take a while for it to come out because it's in
sure.
It's called Feral Magic is what it's called. But I came up with a bunch of. I did a tiger and I did a lion and I did a bunch. I didn't do rhino, but I have a template for it.
Oh, very cool.
Email me and I'll send you.
Email you. Sure.
Right? Because the main thing I think you need to do is if that's it, then you need to do a deep dive and find out, okay, where what species and what phylum and what
Sure.
biological framework does it fall into, like where does it live, learn, like that's my first thing, is get to know everything about that animal, which you can do online, and
it's also an endangered species, so
right. But it's got a lot of interesting things,
Oh, absolutely.
Like
Nearsighted.
Yes, it's very, very different, and I got to see them actually in Nepal. They're really kick ass.
I think that's going to be my wish for my 65th birthday. I think is
awesome
to go to a zoo where they let you feed the rhinos and get up close to them.
Yeah, why not?
It's like that. It's one thing to read about them and to watch videos, but to see them in person is amazing.
Eldritch, what is it? Is it the sort of armor, or what is it that intrigues you about the rhinos?
Oh, well, you've known me long enough. You know that I have a very thick skin.
But a big heart.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but
I have a marshmallow heart.
Mess with him, he'll gore you.
Right. That's right. Rhinos are also great for emergencies. They will charge. They will also put out fires. And
very hard to kill a rhino.
It's true. So yeah, lots of those things. And of course, there's the whole thing about horny and aphrodisiac with the horn. Poor thing, it's their downfall. So hopefully not mine, but
no.
But anyway, it's really true that whole thing about thick skin, and if somebody needs something done, I will be the person to do that thing.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Just like I'm the person, if I ever see anybody picking on anybody, I go full out ballistic.
Absolutely.
I don't care. I saw somebody spanking a kid on the street. I went ballistic, and my friend was yelling at me afterwards, like, that person could have had a gun, and I'm just like, I'm way past thinking about that,
Right.
If you're doing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah. Oh, and I do appreciate your talking about your research on the Vikings and that, because my husband, he's 6'7" ginger giant, and
Wonderful.
I'm like,
Nice.
yeah, and he loves wolves, so I'll be talking to him, but he's online because that's what he does in his generation. So
Good, yeah, that's fine. No, hey, it's all good. I'm old school too, but I think anyway. Any other questions? I love the rhino question.
I think everybody wants to know about other animals.
Sure.
So go ahead and ask your questions, please.
Yeah. I won't bite.
I think he will, but anyway.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
Yeah.
So if nobody has any questions about that, there was a question that came up on Friday, and I think Eldritch was the one that posed it. So I think I'm going to put it back out there and see what your thoughts are on this, Denny. So you've talked about werewolves and the new moon and the powers and energies. What is your impression of werewolves and the eclipse that's coming up, like solar eclipses and lunar eclipses?
I have a ritual for it. When I was first putting this book together, one came up. It was a while ago, and I went out. I meditated on this, and the wolf said, like the wolf thought it was very funny because And then I did some research. Like in some cultures, the wolf spirit devours the moon, which is why there's an eclipse, and so it's seen as bad, evil, but you read other things and it's like, no, it's not necessarily bad or evil. It's about purification and transformation. So I sat down, I went into a trance state. I sat down with my wolf spirit and I said, and it just looked at me and said, it's about purification. You whatever you're dealing with, whatever stuff you're stuck on, if you're doing this work and you're hooked into the moon energy, which is what I was doing when I did my ritual, right? Then you do it before the eclipse, and then you hold that, you become part of that, you become absolutely meshed with it, and then when the eclipse happens, it removes everything you want removed, and then when it comes out the other end, you're completely new and clear and okay. I mean, you're better. I've done it several times now, and each time it's been really, really helpful and potent. And so that's just my take. It's in which one is it in? I think it's in Werewolf Magic. I'll tell you in a second. I should actually know that off the top of my head, shouldn't I? I'm not very good about organizing. I'm not very good at promoting myself either. I don't really care. Yeah, I think it's in Werewolf Magic.
I think Nell is going to allow you to promote yourself if you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's okay. I get like 25 cents a book, so it's not that big a deal. This is actually way more what I love. I like more working with people like this. Like, I don't really care if I make a lot of money on my books.
You know what, Denny? I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people that I talk to who publish books, they don't get a lot of money from what they promote.
Nah, I don't either. And actually, of all my books, I've written a lot of books, and they're books that I've worked hard on. Like my Naga book about the Naga spirits. It's a beautiful, really well written book, and it barely sells. I make almost no money on it. And my new book on Tantra, which is Tantra for All, which took me, I don't know, 15 years to write. Really good book. If you're looking for a book on Tantra, you want to know what it is and step by step how to do it. But I think I made $500 off the book so far. So, but it doesn't matter. To me, it's my legacy. As I get older, I'm going to be gone, but my books will still be around. Well, most of them anyway.
I'm just saying, you can publish it in the chat, right, Mel?
Oh yeah.
But
sure.
Which one?
Your books. You have two, right?
Oh, of the werewolf? Yeah, these two.
Yes. I mean, but I think he would also allow you to put other books that you may have. Do you have other publishing?
I have all my books listed on my blog, on my website, which is
All right.
werewolfmagick.com.
That's it.
Which you've published, but you can do it again. I mean, I'm just saying.
Sure. Yeah, werewolfmagick.com.
Yeah.
You can go to my blog 3 different ways. feralmagic.com. Magic with a K is the main thing. Werewolfmagick.com. And then I'm going to add a tantra one too. But right now I've got Feral Magic and I've got Werewolf Magic. So then I'm going to add one more. But Denny Sargent author is my other one. I also have a Facebook page, an author page, which is Denny Sargent author on Facebook. Or anybody here who has put up with me for the last couple of hours. If you wanna like friend me on Facebook, feel free. I'm just Denny Sargent. You'll see me in the Sahara Desert with the desert behind me. Right, I was riding a camel in the Sahara. I'm not quite sure how that all happened, but it did.
Well, so Mel put up your link. It's werewolfmagick.com. So.
Oh sure, yeah. No, it's easy to remember, but yeah.
There's nothing wrong with plugging yourself at all, right?
True, and all my friends let me know what an idiot I am for not doing it. So thank you, actually.
So to close out, does anybody else have any closing questions?
Please, I got nothing else to do. I'm having fun.
And we're going to have a discussion right after this, right, Gwydion?
But this was the discussion. Oh. This was the debriefing on the trance work. We're going to do the transition video, and then the after-hour social is just going to be the after-hour social.
Well,
so I'm going to mute myself now.
I've got there's a couple of things I would like to know. I would like to know, first of all, nobody's actually said, but I'd like to know, what was your experience about me doing the ritual? Could everyone just throw in a couple of words or something? Because I'm kind of curious. What did you think about it?
I could definitely see some order to it. So there was like some sort of there was opening. I mean, there was like setting the container for the work, and then Widdershins on the other side to like open the circle back up.
Right.
So I definitely saw that. And it was easy to follow with what you gave us at the beginning before the ritual started.
Good. I'm glad it was straightforward.
I had to open my eyes though to see what you were doing, because at some point I was just like, I'm hearing different sounds. I need to like figure out what it is that I'm hearing, and then went back to closing my eyes again. But
a little hard on Zoom.
I think I would have plugged in more if it had been in person. So.
Oh yeah. If it was in person, I would make you stand up.
Oh yeah, I would have been totally on board with that, but it's difficult.
It's a different ball game, yeah. Yeah, no, nobody sits down when I do this in person. Anybody else have any? I'm just curious if you had any visions, any thoughts, any feelings, anything come into your head, or anything about anything.
I'll say that your process is something that's really familiar to me in doing trance work and meditation work. And so it was easy to follow and see where you were at in the process. I use a term called periscope up, that when you're in trance, you somehow keep a piece of you available to check the surroundings. And, I could see you in your process, and could easily follow the flow, which is good. And I was just wishing to do it in person, because that to me is the drawback of Zoom.
Yeah,
but that's that.
I would love to hang out with all you guys and do it in person. It'd be so much more fun.
Absolutely. But the confirmation of the process is like, yep, this is that feral magic. This is that unbridled kind of sense of self and grounding and ecstatic tradition is
fantastic.
Good stuff.
Anybody else? Nah.
I'm raising my hand.
Oh, you are?
Yep.
Go ahead, talk.
Um,
For some reason, you're cut off. I don't know. Oh, wait. Just a minute. Leave meeting. No, I don't. Oh, yeah. For some reason on my thing, it's half of you are cut off because of do you want to leave meeting? And I don't want to. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, I can see your chins, but okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, yeah, there is something totally, and I'm piggybacking off of what Eldridge said. It's so different to do ritual work in person than it is in Zoom land, because in Zoom land, I just feel like it's so cerebral and I'm in my headspace so much. I get really freaking tired just sitting and like contemplating all these things in my head and trying to like visualize or what others are saying. And it's really hard to do that in Zoom, like especially with a guided meditation. Some people can do it. It's great. Like they provide enough space for you to for your subconscious to use its own dialogue to create a message for you, or have like spirit talk to you through a language you know rather than a language somebody else knows. But with this, it's different.
Yeah.
Because it's no words, right? You have a basic understanding of the concepts of what is being done and why and how. So that gives you more freedom to feel things and actually embody spirit more than like a guided meditation could, for me personally.
No, you're right. You're right.
But
There's
but
a
yeah.
couple things. Yeah, those things all bother me. There's a couple of things I just want to reiterate. One, there's no talking. There's
Right.
no talking, and there's a reason why. Because I've taught teachers, right? There are 6 centers in your brain that all intercoordinate, and my son's autistic and he has problems with that, right? And the minute when our group was doing something, if someone stopped and said something, the whole thing shut down. And I finally had to say, listen, you can't talk. You can't even think about talking, because you're going back into your intellect. You're going back into your higher cortex. The goal is to completely shut down everything here. So you're not thinking about work tomorrow. You're not thinking about, oh, I got to go buy something at the store. And the minute you talk, you're connecting all those dots, and you're everything's gone into this upper range. So I think that's part of it. The second part of it is when we are together in person, our tones all come together. When I start going, right? What you're hearing is through Zoom. It's not really what I sound like.
Mm-hmm.
When we're all together, it's a very vibrant thing. And then everyone starts doing it at exactly the same. And we all start doing it together. Like we stand in a circle and we go, and we all lean this way. Right? That in sync motion puts you into a different, puts you into a deeper trance state faster, because this is what animals do. This is what people do when they're all walking together, marching together, dancing together, right? So what's missing is my aura is not with your aura.
Right. The resonance.
And, yeah, the resonance is not there. But you get to see me do my song and dance anyway. And it's kind of, hopefully it's kind of interesting to you. And,
Absolutely.
And you can watch me go into that was a medium shapeshift. I'll usually do that for much longer, and then it takes so much longer to come out. We spend a lot of time lying on the ground or sitting on the ground, or everybody plays with my dog. Because the minute we go into a deep trance state, all of a sudden the dog's like, oh, dogs. and he starts running around and playing and
Right.
Mhm.
you know, so that's
And
pretty much.
and without speaking, it makes it more accessible, like you were saying, for people that have problems with speaking.
Well, also, if you're gonna go, if you want if you want your animal self to really come out,
Mhm.
shut down your ego, thing, then you can't talk, because that's the difference between earlier or
Mhm.
earlier Homo sapiens. Well, they weren't Homo sapiens. They were different kinds of beings, Homo
Right.
erectus and whatnot. Most of them didn't talk, and therefore they didn't have the kind of multi-level view of reality that we do. So the minute you talk, you're back into this hypothetical multi-level mental construct, where as opposed to just simply existing and feeling the breeze and feeling the dirt and smelling, really truly smelling things.
Mhm.
And I reading about autism and writing, reading and writing about animism, but also autism to a certain degree. When we are experiencing something wholeheartedly, then like we feel something, we really feel it, instead of immediately thinking about, oh yeah, this feels like, oh yeah, this reminds me of, you know what I mean? Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Mhm.
So,
Right.
so,
Yeah.
so when I'm in a true trance, when I'm really tranced out, I'm looking at the stars and I'm not thinking about, oh, these stars are, or this is that, or I smell everything. I feel everything. My night sight becomes incredibly frigging good, if you can believe it. I did this up in the Cascade Mountains, and I could walk through the woods at night and I could see everything just fine when I was in that animal state, because it kind of gave me more. I guess it gave me more. By shutting down my brain, it gave me more body stuff.
Mhm.
So yeah, but if you've got an animal that that's peeking around the corner at you, like a fox or a rhino or whatever, go down that road. I like the image of rocking like a rhino. I don't know. I have to think about that. It'd be really cool. Like
Mhm.
like and I
Absolutely.
don't even know the vocalizations. Like, what if you're doing rhino, you want to look at a bunch of videos. Like, what
Absolutely.
sounds do they make? Like,
Right.
how do they when they're calling each other, what do they do? I have no idea. I spent years watching all these wolf things and saying,
Right.
oh, and
Well, and you can't be a zookeeper. So it's totally fine to specialize and do what you know best.
YouTube, man, YouTube is the best. So I don't know. Anybody else? Are you done?
I have something.
Good.
Um,
I love this conversation.
so I apologize for coming in like super late. I was trying to get in earlier. Whole Zoom had to update. It was a whole big thing. Anyway, so I made it like halfway through, but wolf is one of my spirit animals, like one of my primary ones. So I haven't done a lot of shape shifting stuff, but like as soon as I like logged in and was able to like sit, and it would took me about 3 minutes to like plug into exactly what you were doing, and it was awesome. um I didn't have any of the like lead up to where you were in the process, but it felt it raised the hairs on the back of my neck in like a good way.
That's a really good sign, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, like I got like my hair everywhere was just like standing on end, and I was just like, oh, okay, I get this. I feel this. I know what this is. So it was really cool, and even though I was only here for a part of it, it was powerful for what I felt.
Nice. I've had people show up at my werewolf magic stuff being like totally poo poo about it. Oh, I don't know. I'm a witch and blah 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 blah. And about 10 minutes in, they're gone. They're like there, and afterwards they're like, I don't know what happened, but it just pulled me right in and da 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 da. And I said, well, it's what your animal self, your regular persona thought had all this intellectual reasons why it was not any good. Your animal self jumped. That's what it is. Your animal self went, yeah, that's it. So, you know, I've done it before a bunch of doubting people before. Most of them like go, oh, I thought you were crazy. I said, well, I am, but it's different.
We're all crazy in our own way.
Oh yeah, I'm crazy publicly.
But no, it was very powerful, and it was very cool to sort of disconnect but reconnect with, like, disconnect parts of myself but reconnect other parts of myself.
Mhm.
If that makes sense.
Yes. Yes, you disconnect your ego.
Right. Yeah, it was very like I don't know. It touched a deeper part of me. Even though I was only there for a very short amount of time.
I can feel it from here. Your animal self jumped right out and
Right.
said, "Oh yeah, that's what I want." So, and that's it. Like whether it's a rhino or a fox or the animal spirit that you're supposed to work with, it just is right. It's probably tapping on you. You know, if you're into this sort of thing. I mean, I've been into wolves. I mean, I've been looking through all my old journals, and like I had wolf stuff all through it, and I was completely clueless about it because I was like, wow, this werewolf thing, it's so new for me. And then I went through like I went through like the night, 1990, 1985, all this stuff is like, there's wolf this, wolf this, wolf this, wolf this. I'm like, oh shit, I was completely oblivious that there was a pattern. So I totally, I mean, I'm as clueless as anybody. But finally, it took the wolf spirit to like literally come and get in my face and say, "Dude, you're a mess. I'm here to help you." You know. So yeah, no, there are animal spirits everywhere. I've become a real animist person, and the witches. If you look at all the old witch stuff about familiars, you'll see witches, riding wolves, witches riding goats, witches riding this, or like the idea of familiars was that they were animal spirits that came to you to work with. There's all kinds of different things, whether it's shamans or witches or whatever. If we accept that there's animal spirits out there and that we're animals, then I mean, ancestors are really just human animal spirits, right? That was a moment I had not too long ago. I have an ancestor altar, and I'm like, oh, I should do something for the animal spirits. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. They're all animal spirits.
It's a good way of looking at it.
Like I said, I'm a weirdo, but this is my world now. I used to write, I used to write curriculum for, teaching students. Now I write Werewolf Magic. But if you might want this book if the werewolf has jumped out at you. This is the first one, and
I will definitely look it up. Thank you.
I'm curious to and if anybody's like poor or they have no money, somebody has raccoon. Oh, I love raccoons. If somebody doesn't have the money, like email me and I'll send you a PDF. Just don't tell my boss. Shh. No, they'll get really mad at me. I'm not supposed to send out PDFs. But on the other hand, I've had a number of people say I don't have a lot of money. I have a bunch of millennials who are really into my stuff, and they're like, "Oh, I really want your book, but I can't afford it." I just send them the PDF. So please don't send it off to a lot of people. I can make some money, so I don't really care. I care more about people being healthier and better. And I'm fully and 100% behind animals that are being slaughtered and destroyed and the death of nature. So I'm with the animals now.
Well, thank you for making your work accessible.
Oh.
It's really important.
Yep.
Oh, thank you. For me, it's like a ball. I love doing this.
Sure. It's great to do what you love.
Plus, I get to meet new people.
Yeah.
You could all email me. You can be my Facebook friend. No, I really enjoy it. I'm that kind of person. So I'm a nice wolf. Unless, you know, you're a racist or a homophobe or a jerk, then I will rip your throat out. Maybe. Probably not, but my teeth aren't what they used to be. So now you're gonna fade into the fire, right?
Yes. So here's what we're gonna do right now. So it looks like Gwydion is gonna go ahead and start the after hours social here
Yep.
pretty soon. So I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna split off. Anybody that wants to stick around here for a while, we'll be playing the Firebow. It takes about 10 minutes or so in for the wolves to start howling in the background. And what I'll do is I will keep the video going until the last person leaves, or when it ends, it's an hour video. So either when the last person leaves or when the hour is up, don't feel like you have to stay for it. I am going to share the YouTube video link later to the Facebook group. So you can always go back and look at it later. But if you want to stick around, it will be going. If you want to join Gwydion in the after hour social, that's fine too.
Yeah, I might go to the social. I mean, I'm gonna eat some food and then I might go to the social. How long does the social go on?
So Denny, you're invited. I think it just was put in the chat, right, Gwydion?
Yep, I just put it back in. I just put it back in the chat, and pretty much it goes until whenever. If I end up getting too tired, I'll just turn off my own camera and microphone and leave everybody else to talk.
Well, I'm really having a good time with this conversation. So I think
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go eat something and then I'm gonna join you and see what if anybody has any questions for me about.
Denny, also you can post your contact information for your books, for your website, you know, all of it. So I mean, either here or later. So
yeah, I mean,
or both.
Everything
Yeah.
that anybody needs is like I could do here too, I guess.
Denny, we have a couple different ways of accessing it. It's on several of the info sheets and with your bio. And Mel has also posted it in here, so you don't need to recopy it. We got it.
Yeah. I literally suck at doing that. I literally do. Like
Mel's got you covered.
Many times people have my friends have torn their hair out over the fact that they're like, you have all these books, why don't you? I'm like, oh.
Denny, we're trying to look out for you.
I know, thank you. Bless you. I'm the member of your Bog group. That's it. I appreciate it. Lord